Good morning, students. Today's topic is about congenital cataract. The overview is first one is definition, etiology, epidemiology, morphology, diagnosis, differential diagnosis, management, complications, and final is the prognosis. Definition about the congenital cataract: a congenital opacity of the crystalline lens. Congenital cataract means disturbance in the normal growth of the lens before birth. Next one is the developmental cataract. It will occur from infancy to adolescence. If it is present at 1 year, it will be called as infantile. If it is developed later, it will be called as juvenile cataract. And regarding the etiology, main one is the idiopathic and next one is the hereditary. It will present as either autosomal dominant or recessive or X-linked. And next one is the intrauterine infections. And next one is the associations of ocular disorders and metabolic causes and maternal drug ingestion or malnutrition, and final one is the trauma. In this etiologies, many times it will present as unilateral also. And regarding the epidemiology, the incidence is about 1 in 2000. Approximately one-third of the congenital cataracts are inherited and one-third are associated with the syndrome and one-third are presented as idiopathic. And regarding the morphology, it is important to identify the age of onset to the visual prognosis. It may suggest heritability and it may give a clue to the etiology. And these are the morphological types are punctate or blue dot cataract, anterior polar cataract. It is present as a pyramidal or either reduplicated. And next one is a posterior polar cataract, nuclear or embryonal cataract, coronary cataract, coralliform or fusiform cataract, and final is a zonular or lamellar cataract. This is the picture showing the various morphological types. In this picture, first one is the posterior subcapsular. This is the posterior subcapsular, and this is the peripheral cortical or coronary, and this is the anterior cortical cataract. This is a subcapsular. This is a pyramidal. Both these are a reduplicate cataract, and central one is the nuclear cataract. Surrounding is the lamellar cataract. And last one is the posterior polar cataract. And first one is the punctate or blue dot cataract. In this picture, we are seeing various tiny blue dots. This is the most common type. Appear as multiple tiny blue dots scattered all over the lens, especially in the cortex. By oblique illumination with a slit lamp, we can able to see the blue dots. It is also known as cataracta caeruleus. Visual acuity is not affected in this case. In this picture, here we are seeing that anterior polar cataract. It is sharply demarcated opacity at the anterior lens capsule and usually the size of a pinhead size. It may project forward into the anterior chamber like a pyramid, then it is called as a pyramidal, or subsequently a subcapsular cataract may develop just behind it with a clear zone in between. It is called as a reduplicated cataract. It's formed due to delayed formation of the anterior chamber during development of the lens. These opacities are stationary and rarely interfere with the vision. This is the zonular or lamellar cataract. This is the commonest developmental cataract presenting with a visual impairment. It may be congenital or occur after first years of age. Usually bilateral and hereditary involvement without any ocular anomaly. Associated with the hypovitaminosis, vitamin D or hypocalcemia and maternal malnutrition. Consists of a concentric sharply demarcated zones of opacities called as lamellae surrounding a core that is clear and enveloped by a clear cortex externally. It may present as a linear opacities like spokes of a wheel called riders that extend outwards towards the equator. It's a pathognomonic finding. Child present with the photophobia due to light scattering. Surgery when the visual acuity is less than 618. Next one is the diagnosis. The main part is the history. It is presented, how long it's present, the duration of the presentation, and family history of congenital cataract, and visual status, ambulation in familiar and unfamiliar surroundings, and behavioral pattern and school performance. And regarding the birth history, the history of consanguinity and degree of consanguinity, history of maternal infection during first semester, and gestational age and birth weight, birth trauma, supplemental oxygen therapy in perinatal period, and developmental milestones. And final is the ocular examination part. We'll measure the visual acuity, pupillary examination, external eye examination including lids and eyelashes, measurement of the intraocular pressure. Slit lamp examination includes to rule out the associated congenital anomalies of iris and lens, and type of cataract, iridodonosis and phacodonosis. Dilated examination of cataract and fundus examination should be done, and biometry if the child is old enough to cooperate. If not, this may be need to be done under anesthesia. And next one is the differential diagnosis. We have to rule it out from many other conditions like retinoblastoma, toxoplasmosis, toxocariasis, retinal detachment, retinitis, retinopathy of prematurity, persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous, Coats disease, coloboma, myelinated nerve fibers, retinal dysplasia, Norris disease, incontinentia pigmentae, retinoschisis, and cyclitic membrane. And final is the management part. Main part modality of management is the surgery. Surgery is indicated when the person's quality of life get interfered, or there is a reasonable prospect that surgery will lead to a significant improvement in vision. All dense cataract, either bilateral or unilateral, and partial cataract with vision less than 618 managed with the surgical part. And timing of surgery is a critical period for development of fixation reflex is between 6 weeks and 6 months of age. So best time for surgery is before this period to prevent the stimulus deprivation amblyopia. In dense monocular cataract, the surgery should be done as early as possible, maybe on the next day after birth. And surgical techniques, various options are available for children are lensectomy, lens aspiration with intraocular lens implantation, lens aspiration with primary posterior capsulotomy and IOL implantation, lens aspiration with PPC, anterior vitrectomy and IOL implantation, lens aspiration with primary posterior capsulotomy, anterior vitrectomy and IOL implantation, and posterior capsular optic capture. And the visual rehabilitation, it will depends upon when the eye will get implanted or by use of contact lenses or by the spectacles. Implantation of the IOL during surgery. The criteria for implantation depend upon the child's age and whether the cataract is unilateral or bilateral. It is perfectly safe and acceptable to perform primary implantation in a child older than 1 year. A foldable acrylic hydrophobic IOL is most biocompatible IOL. If the no IOL is implanted, then the next choice will be the contact lens. The contact lenses are given as early as possible to prevent the stimulus deprivation amblyopia. Frequent retinoscopy should be performed to decide the power of the contact lens, and an overcorrection of +2 to +3 diopter is mandatory. Silicone lenses or soft gels are well tolerated. And next one is the spectacles. In some children with bilateral aphakia, spectacles are better tolerated than contact lenses. In addition, a secondary strabismus may be manipulated by prismatic effect of the spectacles. Bifocal glasses should be prescribed when the child is about to start the schooling. And postoperative complications. Regarding the complications, common one is the inflammation, deposition of pigments on the lens, iris capture or lens decentration, retinal detachment, and glaucoma. Regarding the prognosis, it depends upon unilateral or bilateral involvement, depending upon the density of the cataract during presentation and degree of visual impairment. Thank you.